Hi, everybody. I am Jax James, NORML State Policy Manager, here to chat with you guys about upcoming legislative sessions. My light just went out, but I'm going to roll with it, friends. Here we go. We're going to keep going. Sorry, I guess the battery was low. Post-holiday, I did not charge it, is what I'm guessing. So I hope everybody had a really great fall holiday last week and enjoyed time doing whatever it was that you did. As you guys know, before the holiday, Morgan and I gave some updates on what has happened federally and at the state and local level having to do with the elections. So if you missed that, I definitely encourage you to go back and watch that. In addition, today, I want to talk about upcoming legislative sessions. So, the elections have passed, 2 more states legalized, many municipalities also chose to decriminalize. There have been advancements at the federal level. So, there's a lot of movement going on right now. And part of that movement is going to be the filing of new bills. Now, there are a few states that are still in session, like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, to name a few. So a handful there that are still in session. In Ohio, there is a medical bill that actually has an opportunity to pass during the lame duck session. So if you're in Ohio, please make sure that you participate in the action alert that we have there. Speaking of, where are you guys watching from? Would you please put in the comments? And then that way, if there's anything going on in your neck of the woods, I can look that up for you. Okay, so if you go to normal.org/act, which is in the description of this video, you will find all of our federal action alerts at the top. And then underneath, you'll see a dynamic map of the US. And as legislative sessions are in some cases concluding or in other cases starting, you'll see those bills listed there. So all you have to do is hover over your state, and those bills, if there are any, will pop up and you can participate in all of those action alerts. So make sure that you do that. I'm going to come over the comments and see where you guys are watching from real quick. So Kentucky and Kansas. Kentucky has been having interim discussions about medical cannabis. So I do hope that we will have a very active and productive legislature there this time around. In Kansas as well, there is a lot of talk about medical cannabis. We've got Indiana. Let's see, Virginia has had some bills pre-filed recently. And so definitely go to virginianormal.org and take a look at the actions that they have going on there. Connecticut, Wyoming. Okay, awesome. We've got like a dearth of y'all here today. So just to give y'all an idea of what's going on, I'm going to come over to my handy dandy list over here. And let you know, first of all, for those of you that are watching from Michigan, you guys are still in session, and there are a few bills there that you can take action on. In New Jersey, there's actually employment protection, medical cannabis exemption, insurance coverage, all that type of legislation that you can still participate in. Ohio, I mentioned the medical bill, SB 261. There's recent news coverage saying that it's likely to pass during the lame duck. And then in Pennsylvania, there is some banking legislation that had some movement last month, and some DUI legislation that had some movement last month. So definitely make sure and check out those. Now, when it comes to bills that have been pre-filed for 2023, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my own state of Texas. So here in Texas, you can start filing bills just 6 days after the election happens. And that's exactly what happened. And we had about 18 different bills that were filed that had to do with medical cannabis, decriminalization, and legalization. So if you go to texasnormal.org, there's a 88th Ledge tab that you can click there, and that'll give you a rundown of all of the different bills and links to each of their action alerts there. So if you are watching from Texas, pre-filing has begun, but the legislative session doesn't start until January. And so that's what we're going to see in a lot of the states across the country, is these new bills being filed. So Expect for January and February to be really busy, probably even into March. And then we'll start seeing more committee hearings in the spring. And as we approach the summer, that's whenever a lot of the legislative cycles end. Not all of them, but many of them. So I want to encourage everyone, now that you have gone out and you voted, and now you have taken your little holiday break, go ahead and get geared up for the legislative session. I encourage you to look up who represents you and proactively send them an introductory email saying, hey, I'm looking forward to the upcoming session. These are my legislative priorities. Please let me know how I can work with you on these. And of course, if you have a chapter near you, which in the description of this video, there's of course a link to all of our chapters, you can reach out to the local chapter and see how you can get involved there. For example, here in Texas, we do direct actions either every other week or every week during the legislative session, depending on which part of the session it is. We're also going to be holding a lobby day. And additionally, we actually put together an advocacy training day, which we do in early in the session, usually mid-January, so that people can understand what is the legislative process, how does it work, who represents me, how do I find myself my way around this Capitol. And so I encourage all of y'all to reach out to your chapters to see what's going on there. Also, I want to remind everyone it's Giving Tuesday. And if you want to donate to the NORML Foundation, it is, of course, tax deductible and will help with all of the work that we're doing across the country. And I definitely encourage all of y'all to participate in that. I'm going to come over to the comments really quickly. We've got Georgia, Tennessee, Minnesota. Minnesota has really been talking about legalization, especially since they flipped one of the chambers. So, I think it is very possible. I anticipate us seeing quite a few bills coming up this legislative session. So Minnesotans, stay tuned for sure. I feel the same way in Pennsylvania and a few of the other states. But of course, we have a lot of work to do. Someone here says, I'd love to find my local one. So you can go to norml.org/chapters, click on your state. And if there's not one there for your state, there's actually even instructions on how you can start your own chapter if you are interested in doing that. Okay, so summary of today. We have had some great advancements during the election cycle, both at the state and local level. There's also been some advancements federally, but now we're really gearing up for the legislative cycle. You can go to norml.org/act, hover over your state, and if there's any currently filed legislation there, it will pop up and you can participate in those action alerts. But I do encourage all of you to stay tuned leading up to January, February, March, because we anticipate a lot of bills. There were hundreds of bills that we were following last session. And just so you guys know, we focus on patient and consumer advocacy type legislation, ensuring that people have access. We don't really deal as much with, regulatory and licensing type of issues. We want to make sure that we're really focusing on the cannabis consumer and their needs. So we hope to have hundreds more of bills, good bills that we can promote across the country. So thank you, everybody, for staying tuned today. And of course, as I mentioned, Giving Tuesday, please donate to the NORML Foundation. You can also become a member of NORML. You can shop at our store in advance of the holidays. And make sure, number one thing to do is to go to norml.org/act and participate in our action alerts today. So thank you so much for joining me, friends. It has been great to see you again after the holiday. We'll have a few more of these updates as we lead up to the legislative sessions in January. And of course, as I mentioned last time, Tuesdays are going to be my new day. We were doing Fridays in the afternoon, but now we're going to do Tuesday afternoon. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with you guys in the front end of the week to prepare you to take action throughout the week. So thank you, everybody, for joining today and leaving your comments of where you're watching from. I love seeing the different states that we get tuning in, and I hope you all have a wonderful Tuesday.